Hello and welcome back. In this tutorial, we're going to be looking at another concept or another lookup function. Is the Hlookup, is the horizontal lookup. It's more like the opposite of VLOOKUP, and if you could use the word opposite, and it basically more like an inverted version or a transposed version. So let's look at Hlookup and what are the arguments in Hlookup, and we'll look at real life data set, how we can use Hlookup. So in Hlookup, we have 4 arguments, just like we had in VLOOKUP, right? In Hlookup, we have your lookup value, that is what are you looking for, your table array, where do you want to find that thing you're looking for, the row index number, this replaces column index number like we had in Hlookup, and your range lookup, whether it's an approximate match or an exact match, right? So let's look at this table. This table basically lists some animals and their characteristics. So it tells us the name of the animal, the name of the animal, the sound it makes, the color, the size, and their diet, whether it's a carnivorous animal or omnivorous animal or herbivorous animal, right? So you may want to necessarily find something around, you want to know a particular characteristic of a cow. Let's say you want to know its diet, or you want to know the characteristics of a dog, and you want to know whether it's you want to know its size, or you want to know the sound it makes, or you want to know that of a lion, you want to know the sound it makes. So basically, let's plug in our Hlookup and see how it will look. So I'll basically call the function Hlookup, so equal to Hlookup, and I take that, and basically my Hlookup, I would say, I want to know the sound that lion makes. So let's assume this is our Excel interface. This is B, let's assume it's B1, right? Or let's say it's B2. So my lookup value is lion. Lion is in cell B2. So I'm just going to reference B2. Just assume that I'm referencing B2 that way. And that is my lookup value. What's my table array? My table array then necessarily means I could highlight the entire array, or whatever array I'm highlighting. I should just ensure that my lookup value is to the topmost, is on the first row of the particular array. Just the same way we want to ensure that our lookup value is to the leftmost part when we're using VLOOKUP, right? In Hlookup, make sure it's on the topmost part. So in this case, it's my lion, right? So B2. So what's my table array? My table array can be anything. It can be from the same B2 up to E2, and I carry the entire thing, right? Or it can be B2 to anywhere my data extends to. So I'm just going to write B2 to, let's say, C5. That's my array. And by the time you use structured referencing every now and then, or you use named ranges that we've covered in previous topics, you would understand why it is very important that you work in tables or use named ranges. So back to our Hlookup, right? So our table array is B2 to C5, row index number. Remember, lion, I want to know the sound a lion makes. Now, I'll look at my table. Where does sound fall to? Sound fall on the second one. So let's say this is A2, A3, sound is here, right? So if my entire array is coming from B, so which means this is my first column as far as this data is concerned, and where sound is which means this is my first row, I beg your pardon, where as far as this entire data set is concerned, if I had highlighted my entire array from the row 2, right? Which means row 2 is my first array, right? So that means it's my first row. That means row 2 is my first row, and my second row where sound lies is my second row, and is my row index number as far as the array that I have highlighted is concerned. So I'll write 2 being where sound is, because I want to know the sound a lion makes. My range lookup, now of course I want an exact match, so I'm going to write 0 there. I'm going to write 0 there so that my Hlookup function would be complete. and you can see what I have. So I'm going to close my bracket, and I would have my answer to be raw. So again, of course, HLOOKUP has its limitation, just like VLOOKUP also had its limitation. But let's go into the Excel environment and explore what HLOOKUP can do for us in real life. All right, in this video, we're going to be looking at our HLOOKUP. Right, so we have the data set that we had used in the last tutorial for VLOOKUP, but it's in a transposed form. That is, the names of the cars are here, the MPG and every other thing. That is, the characteristics are listed from top to bottom, vertically here, and our lookup values are in the horizontal frame. Now, although I put this in tables, HLOOKUP could be a bit tricky. Working with tables and HLOOKUP could be a bit tricky, but we'll look at two ways we can, work with it. Now, this time around, I want to look for this puncher Catalina inside this table, and I'm going to say, again, very similar to what we've done with VLOOKUP, so I'm going to say HLOOKUP. I'll pick the function. My lookup value is puncher Catalina, and it's in this data set. Remember, your lookup value should always be at the topmost, the topmost side of your data set when you're using HLOOKUP, because it has to, because HLOOKUP will basically have to, to look from that side, to begin from that place. So my lookup value is this puncher Catalina. My table array, I've named this table automobiles with 2 underscore. So I'm going to pick that guy. However, if you notice the way this table is behaving, it is highlighting, it is excluding my column headers, and that's one funny, well, not entirely funny, that's the behavior of tables. It just doesn't work well in HLOOKUP. So to be able to capture the first column, or the first row rather, where our lookup value is, I'm just going to open a square bracket, and I'll scroll down. You can see that I've got out everything that appears as headers in this data set. However, that's not what I want. I want it to recognize or to pick everything, including the headers. So I'm going to click on all. I'll select all. I'll use my tab key. I'll pick everything, and this time around it will highlight the entire table. Then I'll close it. You can see that it has now taking into consideration everything. Now I've taken that. My row index number, so where does my weight fall into in the entire data set? So if this is my row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4, row 5, row 6, my weight is on row 6, so I'm just going to write 6, 0, and close my bracket, and I can hit my enter button. This time around, I'm going to find my values. Now we can see that work. In other case, if this appears long for you, having to use table, which is actually the shortest one, you can also use the option of referencing the entire thing and using your mouse to reference. However, I prefer and I always encourage people to work in tables. Right, so that's HLOOKUP, and it's more like the inverse of VLOOKUP. Alright, so basically that brings us to the end of this tutorial about HLOOKUP. If you have any question or if you're having any challenge, please drop me a comment in the section below. I'll be sure to answer it. And please do not forget to download the data set. It will be in the comment section or in the description section of this video. Download the data set and practice and practice and practice and practice as many times as you can. It makes you perfect, it makes you better every now and then. And also do not forget to like this video, share with someone, and subscribe to this channel. Alright, see you in the next video.